South Africa has recorded yet another staggering rise in the number of daily COVID-19 cases. 13,246 new infections have been recorded in the past 24 hours. That's the highest since January this year. So far, close to 2 million people have been vaccinated, but now another delay has surfaced. 2 million doses stored in Gqeberha, that's in the Eastern Cape, have been put on hold after the U.S. deemed the vaccines unfit for use. In fact, those vaccines are not even being held, but we were told to simply discard those vaccines, those 2 million vaccines in Gqeberha. Let's speak now to the South African Health Regulatory Chief at, this is SAPRA in short. Portia Nkambule is the regulatory officer there, and she speaks to us now. Ms. Nkambule, thank you very much for your time. Can I just start off with a question that says, which vaccines are registered for use here in South Africa? Are you able to tell us that in clear detail?
Thank you very much, and good morning to the viewers and the listeners. SAPRA has approved, 3 vaccines for use in the country. The initial vaccine that was approved through what we call Section 21 was the AstraZeneca vaccine that was manufactured by the Serum Institute of India. However, that one was not recommended for use in the country. And the second one was the J&J vaccine. This one was registered with conditions for use in South Africa. And then the last one, the other one is the Fisa vaccine, community vaccine, that was granted emergency use. That is a Section 21 authorization to be used in the country.
All right. So 2 vaccines are registered, therefore, in the country right now, and that being J&J and Pfizer. Let's deal with J&J very quickly. What is the latest from the FDA in the U.S. about the possibility of bringing back J&J for use in the country?
Thank you very much for this question. Let me start by indicating, what has transpired with regards to the J&J vaccine, and also, talk to the process of approving the vaccines in South Africa. What we will do, we'll start by engaging with potential applicants in what we call so-called pre-submission meetings. We will share with the applicants the requirements and what needed to be submitted to the regulatory authority. And once the application is received, it will be reviewed, covering these aspects of the non-clinical data, the clinical data, and we also look at the chemistry, manufacturing and control, as well as pharmacovigilance and risk management plans. And these reviews are conducted to ensure that safety, efficacy and quality of the product. And this process, as it's happening, we also, are able to rely with other regulatory authorities, as we've been, we are allowed, or this is provided in our act, that we can share and exchange information with other regulatory authorities in order to continue to do our regulation of health products in the country. So with regards to the J&J, there was it was reported that there was a contamination of some, active substances that are used to manufacture, the vaccine at the site in the U.S. And the FDA did an investigation, and with regards to determine which of those batches have been, affected or contaminated by those. And SAPRA rely on, use reliance process, as I've indicated before, to rely and work with the other regulatory authorities that we align ourselves with, to review the data that they would have, generated during their inspections. So that data was shared with SAPRA, and SAPRA made a decision also following that process.
All right. So as things stand then, Ms. Nkambule, do we agree that in the country right now, there's only one vaccine that is authorized for use and that continues to be used right now as we speak, and that is the Pfizer jab? Yes?
As I've indicated before, the J&J vaccine is also registered for use in the country. So when a product has been registered and the manufacturing is done in different batches, so J&J remains registered for use in the country, and the batches that have been manufactured, those batches that have been contaminated, has been, as we've indicated, have been not authorized to be used in the country. However, the batches that the right batches that will not be that wouldn't have been contaminated, that will be manufactured, will be allowed for use in the country.
All right. Let me rephrase my question. I'm talking about a vaccine that's available for use right now. We only have one vaccine. Am I correct?
We have the Pfizer vaccine that is being rolled out for use in the country, and Janssen together with Aspen, they're working on ramping up production for the J&J vaccine. That the batches that would not have been affected by the contamination.
All right. I think, although you're not answering my question, but I think it's quite clear that the only available vaccine right now for use as we speak is the Pfizer vaccine, because J&J, there is this process that is underway, which means it's unavailable right now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, that leads us to the next batch of questions. Why is South Africa unable to use vaccines from China and Russia?
As I've indicated, there is a process that needs to be followed for a vaccine to be registered, or any other product to be registered and allowed for use in the country. And the applicants need to present to SAPRA the data that support the use of that vaccine. The data will be that support the safety, efficacy, and quality of that vaccine. And what is happening currently is that we have received dossiers from the two Sputnik V, for Sputnik V, and also for CoronaVac. And those dossiers are now currently under evaluation. And once SAPRA is satisfied, or the safety, efficacy, and quality of these dossiers has been addressed, those could be registered for use, or approval could be granted for use.
How long is that process going to take?
This process depends on several factors. Like, for example, the Sputnik the application has been submitted through what we call the rolling review process. And this is the process that SAPRA has put in place in order to begin an effort to respond to the pandemic, and also to increase the turnaround time for approval of vaccines. And this process facilitates for submission by applicants for data as it becomes available. As we've seen now with COVID-19, it is new, and data is generated on an ongoing basis. And by accepting this data on an ongoing basis, this allows the review to commence before all the data is available. So what we need to also take into consideration is that while the review can commence earlier with rolling review, it is important to know that some important efficacy and safety information is sometimes, outstanding, and will require that it be submitted, for review before approval is granted. Therefore, this process allows pharmaceutical companies, to can submit data, and also indicating in their plan when they will be submitting this other, outstanding information. And this is done through them showing us they're submitting the rolling review, sequence, and then also their plans. And what's happening currently with this is that we have received data from the Sputnik, V applicant, which we are currently reviewing. And as data becomes available, then they will submit for us to review.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just very briefly then, your reaction to the EFF leader yesterday, Julius Malema, saying that you have essentially stood in the way of the Sputnik vaccine from Russia, for example, that you were talking about moments ago, from being rolled out in the country, and therefore, as a result, they're going to call on their members to come and protest outside your offices next Friday.
And what I could say with regards to the statement is for the members of the public to understand the process and also, the process followed when it comes to the reviews of these applications. And the review is also done to ensure that the vaccines that have been made available to the public they are safe, they are efficacious, and they are of good quality. And that needs to be supported by the data that I have indicated earlier on that should be coming from the applicant. And the data that we're referring to is data from clinical trials that would have been conducted, and there's the data that will be coming from the lab before the clinical trials are conducted in humans, and there's also the data that will show how these vaccines were manufactured, and also, the chemistry and so forth. And with that, SAPRA will not, release something that has not certified itself or that has not met these, three areas, which is safety, efficacy, and quality.
All right, that's Portia Nkambule. Thank you very much for your explanation there. She is the chief regulator at the South African Health Regulatory Products.